go. This could decide the game.
4th and goal. And they're going to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles, touchdown.
Inability as well. Turnover, though, by Boston. Now Simmons in transition. What a pass to Embiid! My goodness! Posterizes Baines and the foul!
The 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss! Struck him out! The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions!
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Phaithful Phanatics show. It's a packed house today here on DSM Media. So if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Give us a follow on Twitter at DSM_media and follow us on literally every other social media account you can think of. Twitch, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We're on everything. So guys, tap in right here at DSM Media as we are streaming to you guys live through our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter accounts. Today, I'm joined by my guy Gint. As always, give him a follow on Twitter at Matt_McGinty, and a reoccurring face here on the Phaithful Phanatics and one of our partners at DSM Media, Scotty. Give him a follow on Twitter at Scotty Drowned. What's going on, Adam? Can't wait to meet you for the first time on Sunday at the tailgate. But guys, busy show today. And as you can tell by our background, where we're going to start with the team that has the most drama surrounding it right now, that being the Philadelphia 76ers. And for the first time, it seems like in weeks, they actually make some good drama, some good news. As Joel Embiid, the process is here to stay. He signs a 4-year, $196 million extension. I believe it puts him here through the 2026-2027 season. I believe that's the year when his contract finishes up. So, again, I'll throw this to you first. What does this mean? Why was it important? Obviously, you want to lock up Joel Embiid, but what does it mean to you for the Sixers to invest in Joel Embiid, given his injury concerns, we can call it?
I mean, you can't plan for injury. You have to plan for what he is, which was one of the best players on the earth this season, the most dominant player in basketball. So, I mean, it means, like you said, they're going all in, and now it's time to figure out the best pairing next to him, whether that's who's on the roster currently, whether it's flipping people on the roster now for other people. But this is just saying, yo, we're going to do whatever we can for you. And Richard Jefferson had a great little segment today. I think Scotty actually tweeted it out. It's kind of like when they extended Giannis. They said, all right, we'll dump everything into this right now. And they did that when they got Drew Holiday. And you saw how it works. So you have to hope that the Sixers will make that type of home run move, which – I thought there was a chance they would have done this year, and they didn't do that this year. So let's hope there's some type of move in the future, because as of right now, we have the same roster we had last year, and we saw that roster, a couple banged up people, still was not good enough, and they didn't win. So you have to hope this means we're here for right now. We're not worried about the next 5 years, which that might upset some people that are homegrown to the Sixers from 2011 and on. So we'll see.
Scott, what does it mean, man, that he's here through the 2027 season, that they went out and they prioritized locking him up, even though he's got another 2 years left on his current deal?
Yeah, so I mean, similar to what Gint said, I mean, obviously, I think part of it, Embiid obviously wants to secure his future, and I think that's what it says about Embiid, signing the dotted line, with so much uncertainty in this offseason. With Ben Simmons, obviously, the elephant in the room, I feel like him committing kind of shows that Daryl Morey is certainly giving Joel Embiid the keys to this franchise. On the Sixers side, you're just happy to lock in your superstar. And I know we were talking about it in the group chat a little bit yesterday. Some people have their concerns about the injuries, which I get it. But like Gint said, you can't plan for injuries. You can't make moves based off of injuries. And with that being said, you only get so many superstars in Philadelphia, and I think we're starting to realize that. Like, as far as Philadelphia being an attractive city to free agents, it just doesn't top places like LA and Miami, and rightfully so. Look at the weather, look at the surroundings, the reasons that people go there. So when you got homegrown talent like this, Joel Embiid, who is in love with the city of Philadelphia, you got to hold on to that guy as long as you can. And you've seen the Eagles do similar things with some of these players, keeping them in town as long as they can. And it seems like once players do come to Philly and they perform well, then they actually love the city. Once the city buys into them, they fall in love with the city and they want to be here forever. So when you got a superstar at the caliber of Joel Embiid, lock him in, do what you got to do. And now we know the window. We know the window that we're going for the championship. It's within the next few years. It has to be.
No, for real though, let's just play a little bit of devil's advocate, because that's what you kind of have to do when you sign anyone like this. Because even when Milwaukee signed Giannis, there was doubts. They had just gotten beat in the bubble in the second round by Miami, and it was like, can this guy be your best player to win a championship? That's kind of where I'll throw it. It's like, do you guys think Joel Embiid can be the best player on a championship team?
Yeah, I do. And I know we've had conversations, and JD's been a part of those conversations where, I think some people after this postseason saw how good Embiid was, but, it's a guard-oriented league. It's a guard-dominated league, and they're saying, okay, well, Joel is that dominant. However, you see where it gets as far as it gets the Sixers' second round. Maybe he's not a number one option on a championship team. Maybe he's a 1B or a second option. I don't think that's the case. Someone else had said it on ESPN the other day, and I'm not saying that makes it correct, obviously, but someone said if the Sixers were to get their hands on Dame's the second option in Philadelphia. And I just think that speaks to the level of dominance that is Joel Embiid. I think 100% he is, he can be a leader and the number one option on a championship team. The point that I wanted to comment on with Scotty was Scotty mentioned stars in Philadelphia, and it's rare. It feels rare that we get stars here in this city. What's even more rare, it feels like, is stars in the city that love this city back the way it loves them. And the city doesn't always love their stars the way it should. Me and Gint had discussed that on multiple occasions, how we found ourselves treating stars. But he loves the city. He wants to be here. The fact that, correct me if I'm wrong, but he negotiated his own contract. Is that, I heard something like that. Like he negotiated this contract. He signed it. There was no representative. It was him. That's amazing to me. The fact that he probably knows with his size, his body, his injury history, he's not going to have the longest of careers, and he's putting all his chips in this basket. Yeah, again, I agree. It's time for the Sixers to put all their chips in his basket now. Return the favor for Joel Embiid. Go out, get him a second guy, a 1A, 1B, whatever you want to call that pairing. Go out and get Joel Embiid another star as to where they can compete for a championship. But now I want to ask you guys this, because Phil here at DSM tweeted this out earlier, and it's pretty interesting. So Joel Embiid doesn't sign his Supermax to stay for most of his career, probably all of his career, unless one of two things was said by Daryl Morey. Do you want Ben Simmons to stay here? And if we can't trade him, are you okay with him staying? Phil said, leads me to believe a trade happens or Ben and Joel are cool. What are your thoughts on Phil's tweet, and what side do you fall on there? That they're not cool and he said he needs to be gone, or that they actually will be okay?
Talking to me?
All right. Insta-firing Scotty here.
I got you. So I don't know. Part of me feels like, the extension really might not have anything to do with Ben. And then the other side of me is like, Daryl Morey's really giving Joel Embiid control of the team. He's giving him the keys here. And, just based on the way everything's playing out, I mean, Ramona Shelburne, confirmed it again that Ben Simmons is not contacting the Sixers. He's not contacting Daryl Morey. He's not contacting Elton Brand. Down the line, she did mention, yes, he is in the same gym. He is working out with Tyrese Maxey. They communicate. But at the end of the day, Tyrese Maxey isn't the Sixers at the end of the day. So as far as that relationship, it doesn't seem repairable just in general, whether that has to do with this extension or not. What I would say, I would imagine that Daryl Morey is going to trade this guy. Now, I know people want him off the team before the season comes. The way the market's playing out, and what we're hearing, apparently, they reported again today that Minnesota is the only team that is really, hammering the table for Ben Simmons right now. And the thing about Minnesota is they don't want to get rid of Karl Anthony Towns. They don't want to get rid of Anthony Edwards. They don't want to get rid of D'Angelo Russell. So what the hell do you want from Minnesota? Like that's the only deal that you would really want is something that would involve D'Angelo, if you like D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards for sure. But if they're not trading those guys in, there's nothing on the table. And I just don't see Daryl Morey getting fleeced either. So I do think we could have some awkward basketball to start the season, which is crazy to think. But as far as Ben, I think he is strapped in to where he's not going to be able to sit out of training camp without losing like full paychecks. Sitting out of games, stuff like that. I don't think that he has that option in his bag. But, just as far as what the extension means, the keys are in Joel's hands. And if Joel wants him off the team for pennies, then part of me feels like he could probably make that happen. Now, Daryl Morey isn't usually, one to just give up pieces for nothing. So I don't know. It's kind of a tough middle ground. It's very awkward right now. I know you mentioned the drama at the beginning, and it seems like it's not getting solved anytime soon. So it's hard to measure, man. But if the Sixers could find the right deal, he's out of here. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of, having that deal on the table. And that speaks to, just Ben's market. And it's sad. it's sad because you don't give him up for nothing.
What's going on down there, Mr. Smirk? Because you've been smirking for a hot minute right now.
No, it's interesting to hear both sides because, I'm on the other side of the fence of – well, let's just start with this. I don't think the extension has anything to do with Ben at all. I think – Joel had 2 years on his deal regardless.
No, no.
I think the decision was made the second after the season was over on what Joel wants to happen, what Doc wants to happen, what Daryl Morey wants to happen. It all could not have been the same thing. It all could have been the same thing. No one knows. Yeah. It hasn't been moved yet. So now what does that tell you? I don't know, because the market is you hear one thing one day, you hear one thing the next day. You hear the first day was Malcolm Brogdon, the first pick was immediately denied. That was supposed to be the baseline. Now you hear Golden State won't even throw Kuminga in a deal all of a sudden, or they won't do this, they won't do that. So it's now to the other side of the fence of he's not contacting people, and I understand Ramona Shelburne, yada yada. I still don't buy into a lot of that until I hear the word out of someone's mouth saying, because when James Harden wasn't talking to people, everyone knew it, everyone addressed it. So, all right, sorry.
See, he's right with that.
No, I totally agree with that as well.
He's not. JD's not wrong with this point. He's not wrong with the fact that he did somewhat get thrown under the bus. His shortcomings were portrayed on national television on the biggest stage, and now we're trying to sell him for more than like the fan base is saying move Ben for Dame, but they're saying Ben, you just need to move Ben regardless. So why would we get Ben for Dame? I get what he's saying. Yeah. I get JD's point there. But go ahead, Gint.
Also, there's no shot in any mind, and actually there could be a shot, I could be wrong, that Joel would be up for trading Ben for pennies on the dollar.
No, I don't think so either. You know why?
Why?
You know why? Because Joel Embiid acts like a grown-ass man. And he doesn't care if there's beef, and he'll come back.
So that's another point. So again, until I see the
I'm just busting your balls
out of Joel's mouth or Ben's mouth, or even like Ben hasn't said anything. No one has said anything that's of essence besides Ramona Shelburne. And okay, yeah, he's working out with Tyrese Maxey, and he hears and they speak every day. Well, what are they talking about at that point? You're the man. Dap me up. Nice summer league. I don't believe it. I'll believe it. Like I said, and
man.
Don't get me wrong. I could be super wrong, and he could not be speaking to anyone. Rich Paul really is the one communicating with everyone. But
I think there's a point.
All he's done is practice on video. That's all Ben Simmons has done this offseason is practice on video. So, and all he does is get made fun of it. So, that's the conundrum with Philly fans, and that's with Philly fans. Philly fans act ridiculous sometimes, and I was part of that emotional overturn. A month after the season, however long that lasted, But, I've gotten to the point now, like, obviously we don't want to trade this guy for scraps. Obviously, Ben Simmons is not a bad basketball player. Let's be honest here. Like, we, even as Philly fans, know that Ben Simmons is an all-star level, superstar level player. It's just starting to look like the fit is off for me. So, like, when JD says, imagine saying cheese is bad, like, I get what he's saying with the Joel Embiid comments, with the Doc Rivers comments after the final game against the Hawks. But GMs around the league, scouts around the league aren't listening to what Joel Embiid is saying after the game and making their decision off whether they want to go after Ben Simmons or not. Like, they're going to look at the tape. They're going to look at Ben Simmons and the way he plays in certain situations, in certain sets, on and off the floor with Joel Embiid, on and off the floor with Tobias Harris, and they're going to decipher his talent there. Because my true belief is that if the ball wasn't getting flooded into Joel Embiid every time down the court, Ben Simmons would be very effective on offense. And whenever you get out of your rhythm, you're not touching the ball. He's a guy that likes to handle the ball. He's a point guard. Like, he likes to handle the basketball. He likes to score off the dribble. So whenever you're taking the ball out of his hands and primarily putting it in the post, I just don't see how he can ever get a flow of the game playing with these guys, especially even with a guy like Tobias Harris, who is similar in the post, in the mid-range game. You dump it down to him. Ben needs the ball in his hands. He needs to be in the attack. He needs to be out on the break. And I think, with a team that is built around him, full of shooters, full of guys that can run, like a team like Golden State, that's where he's going to really prosper. And that's where I've come to. That's what I've come to with Ben Simmons. I've come to peace with it. He just may not fit with Joel Embiid in order to get the best out of Ben Simmons.
So we're just to mention, like, because the obvious thing is Dame, right? Everyone says Dame this, Dame that, Bradley Beal. And now we're talking about how you're talking about Joel Embiid, guy on the ball, Tobias Harris, guy on the ball. What are those two guys? So are we saying we have to trade Ben for a guy that's going to play not on the ball?
No. The issue with Ben's fit, to me, is, to Scotty's point, yeah, those two had the ball. They were option one and option two, but they're post players. They're in the paint. That's where they score a majority of their points. That's where Ben also needs to be. Difference, Dame will shoot the ball and shoot from the outside, can shoot from the outside. Bradley Beal, same thing.
Okay, I get that for sure. So now how many shots do you get in a basketball game on average?
But I'm not listening. I can't do that because, like, Brooklyn's the same. Would be even a higher.
Yeah, they didn't play together, and they didn't win. So
because they got hurt.
Yeah, I understand that. So we don't even know if that's going to work. It's never happened.
I get that.
And then if you look at the guys around Brooklyn, around those guys, you have Joe Harris, who's probably going to touch almost every other shot, and then Blake Griffin's going to catch 2 lobs. That's it. Now you're talking about us with 3 ball-dominant guys: Seth Curry, Danny Green, Tyrese Maxey. And don't get me wrong, Damian Lillard would be a treasure, and it would definitely work in a way. But I don't think to say that Ben needs to. I don't really know how to word this. I don't think he demands the ball in any way, as you can see, the way he gives up the ball. So I don't think he needs the ball to be effective with us. Now, does he need to be able to provide a little bit more spacing? Probably.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's the threat.
So is he going to do that? I don't know. So.
Well, that's the one thing. Like, if Ben came out at the beginning of the season and you could clearly see an offensive upgrade, to adding something different to his game, whatever, stepping out, like, but then we say it's. I don't even want to be fooled by the regular season and then it happened again in the playoffs. I'm at such a tough spot with him and this bit because, like, you and I have discussed it. Scotty just said him and Joel probably don't fit. Him and Tobias and Joel probably don't fit. But yet they were like the number 1 offense in net rating with those 3 on the floor together. They've won. They were the number 1 seed. It's what happens in the postseason. And it's just such a weird thing because even Gint and I and Scotty have discussed, like, well, if Ben's not a good shooter, why do you even want him to shoot? Like, that's not a better shot than another shot. But at the same time, you clearly see that you need at least need him to be a threat to shoot from the outside, just a little bit, have that option. So just so much goes into it. It honestly makes my head hurt at this point. You can't sell him for pennies on the dollar. I think he is still a really, really, really good basketball player. He does everything else on the basketball floor at a high level. But I'm to the point now where I'm done saying that and done hearing that argument because look at where we've gotten with that so far. like he's defensive player of the year candidate. Well, he didn't take a shot for 4 straight fourth quarters. Like it's back and forth, but I don't know, man. It's really tough. I still love Ben Simmons. I want Ben Simmons to come back and it work and everything. I can't find every solution I go through. I just don't see where that happens. And especially if the relationship is now fractured, like Gint said, is it true? Is it not true? I don't know. But if it is, then it's damn sure not going to work. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I just one last. I guess the way that I'm looking at it, because I get what Gint's saying. Like,
first of all, hold on. Ben ain't in no damn control after that playoff series. No damn control.
I don't even know. Like, I don't know who's in control, honestly, because he doesn't have any leverage on his contract.
The Sixers are the only ones in control.
Want to move him?
Ben's definitely got a lot of control. I wouldn't say all of it. Yes, he does. He can sit out a training camp and not play, and then
okay, and then give me all your money back.
Yeah, he's not going to make any money.
Again, you have to pleasure. If you're the Sixers and you don't want to move him right now for these pennies on the dollar, you have to make him look good. You have to put him in position to succeed, and that might not be the easiest thing. Apparently,
no, I get that. What I'm saying is, in terms of Ben pushing his way out and selecting, I want to go to LA. You ain't got no control like that because you didn't perform.
Well, my thing is, if he sits out of training camp, who's that hurting more, him or the Sixers? Because it's hurting him too. He just looks like a bad teammate.
No, I agree 100% with that. But I think anyone would take – I don't want to say anyone because he doesn't have the highest market, but I think anyone would take the chance on a 25-year-old all-star who's done this.
Outside of Philly, I would.
And you're going to get him for less assets?
Yeah.
For sure. That's why I said it hurts my head because when you look at it from every way – you know, you have so many fans in this city. He sucks. He's not worth nothing. But I want Dame or Bradley Beal. Well, it doesn't work like that, my friend.
Yeah,
on the opposite end, we don't know how it'll work if he comes back. What if the same things happen in the playoffs next year? But at the same time, I don't want to trade him and make the team worse. So I have no idea. I'm glad I'm not Daryl Morey. I'm glad I don't have to make this decision. At the end of the day, I do think that something happens. The last thing I wanted to throw out there, by the way, this was a Joel Embiid contract extension segment, and we've spent the last 12 to 15 minutes talking about Ben Simmons. It seems like it's that everywhere right now. But one other thing that's pretty funny to me, because you see it on social media, is he's boys with guys in the Sixers organization. Like he had like the photographer. What's the dude that like he's on the microphone at the games every night at the Wells Fargo Center? Scotty, he was at Xfinity Live when we went to the
Matt Gill.
No, not the he's like the hype guy.
It's Christian something, isn't it?
Yeah, Christian Crosby. Yeah. Like the photographer, like they're all boys together. Like it's so like that's just so funny to me as well. Like, what do you think they talk about? Because like the photographer is paid by the team. He's boys with Matisse and Joel and everybody, but he spends all his time with Ben. So like, I wonder what those conversations are like about the situation.
Let me ask one more thing about the extension before we move on, because like you said, it's been almost 25 minutes. Are you surprised, and I believe I'm correct, that there's no injury clauses or games played clauses or anything of that nature?
And the Embiid thing?
Yeah. The only thing that's in it is a player option, I believe, in the last year.
I guess I'm surprised because you're not covering your ass if you're the Sixers because you know the risk. But I think that's a trust thing, and I think that's something Joel putting his trust in Philly. I'm not saying it's smart, I'm saying it's unsmart, but it's definitely caught your eye. I want to touch on one last thing. JD, my guy, stop focusing on the press conference. And again, I know you don't want to hear me slander it, but focus on the series and his performance in the series. I don't want to hear about the press conference because Joel Embiid said that's when he thinks the game changed. That didn't run Ben Simmons out of this city. Ben Simmons' relationship with this team and the fan base became fractured when he passed out of an open dunk at the end of the game because he didn't want to go to a free throw line. Okay? Yeah, should Joel not have done it? Probably. He probably shouldn't have done it, but that's not why we're in this situation we're in.
I'm just so sick of hearing about
he didn't show up.
Like, if that's all it takes, then he didn't want to be here anyways. Like, I'm not trying.
And I'll ask you that. If that's all it takes for him to get so upset, why do you want him on the team? If that's all it takes. He didn't call him out. But like, he didn't say Ben sucks, Ben's this, blah, blah. He said, I think that was the turning point in the game. He wasn't right for saying it out in the open, but it's all he said. He didn't slander Ben's name. He didn't call Ben's whole performance out.
What if Matisse made both free throws?
It's still awful to see.
Okay, I was just curious.
No, and don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Because I've said this.
What if Matisse dunked on those two guys and put the ball in the hoop and made the free throw?
That would have been it,
right? But don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the Sixers win that game. Like they didn't. I'm not saying they lost that game because Ben dunked. I'm just saying when you think of how the series played out and his performance and his shortcomings and his head at the free throw line, and you see him pass out of literally an open dunk, then you know, oh, it's a wrap, bro. Like it's like that kind of just deflated.
My biggest thing about like passing out of the open dunk is not even like the concept, but just like me like thinking about Ben Simmons as a competitor and as a man.
No, I didn't forget that. I named the turnovers as a reason they lost the series. Timeout. I'm moving on to the Eagles right after this. But no, I didn't forget that. I'm just tired of hearing about the damn press conference over and over again. I named Doc Rivers was a reason they lost that series. The bench was a reason they lost that series. The turnovers, Tobias Harris, 4 points in game 4 or 5 on his home court, game 5 on his home court, are all reasons they lost that series. And you could disagree or agree with me, but my opinion, Ben Simmons is number 1, 2, 3, and 4 on that list. He didn't take a shot in 4 straight fourth quarters. I'm tired, and like I'm just tired. I didn't forget the turnovers. They're a reason. Your center can't have 8 turnovers in back-to-back games. I get all that. Your center also averaged like 30 and 13 on a torn meniscus and gave everything he had every game.
Yeah.
So don't slander the best player on this team because the other guy. That's my last thing. That's it. If you want to stick up for Ben Simmons, I'm pissed off now. If you want to stick up for Ben Simmons, that's fine. I still would like to stick up for Ben Simmons, but you can't put down the other dude to make your statement and case for Ben Simmons. Joel Embiid's always hurt. Joel Embiid's this.
Yeah, I mean, and you talk about the turnovers. I mean, Joel Embiid getting double, triple teamed because Ben Simmons is just standing out there. I mean, we could talk about it. Like
we can't talk about not improving in the game and then bringing up Joel's biggest flaw and it's still being a thing and not changing it. That's all.
I'm just imagining a shooter spacing the floor.
I agree, 100%.
And I think that takes a lot of pressure away.
I agree. It would definitely.
But it's not just, that's Ben Simmons' fault. I'm not saying that either. That is obviously something Joel has.
You can't prove it for however many games that Joel looked awesome passing out of double teams all year.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden something happened. And you know why that probably happened? Might have to do with the coach. And that's why
it could. See, dude, like that's my point. You're slandering the extension. Listen, if we took a poll of 1 million people in this city, do you like the Joel Embiid extension? 999,000, whatever, 900,999 people would say yes, and JD would be the only one.
You would honestly probably be 80-20.
I don't think 20%.
There's probably a lot of people.
Find me a reason you would not extend Joel Embiid.
I think there's a lot of people that think their center, your best player can't be a center and win a title.
And that's fair because I was going to answer your question earlier again. If Dame Lillard came to I think Dame Lillard would be the number 1 option, and I think
Lillard would be option 1 everywhere besides wherever Steph Curry and Kevin Durant are. He's probably the next number 1 option.
But like as far as JD's like comments, like I get it. Like you can pull out all the negatives in the world about Joel Embiid, but if you then flip and talk about Ben Simmons and only point out the positives, that's weird. That's
410 games.
Like, point out the positives of Joel Embiid as well.
I just don't get I just don't get how you put down Joel. I'm not saying he doesn't have flaws. The 8 turnovers in back-to-back games.
And if he was wrong he was wrong for the press conference. Let's put it out there. He was. Should that incriminate?
And Doc was just as wrong though. Doc also had comments.
Yeah, Doc, as well. So,
but to me, that was the first time. That was the first time this dude was ever held accountable in this city. Probably. I don't know the conversations that go on behind closed doors, but from the lack of shooting, from the lack of aggressiveness, him choosing when he wants to, when he doesn't in the regular season, everything seems to me Oh my God, I'm moving on to the
Oh my
Eagles.
God,
I can't take the press conference anymore.
Let's move to the Eagles, man.
Okay.
Let's get some positive stuff.
All right, Scotty, take us while I do some housekeeping in the background here. Take us. What's something that you're looking for tomorrow night? In the Eagles Patriots second preseason game, like, and what I mean by like something that someone can build off of from game one, a position battle you want to see continue, whatever it is.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm looking for, I'm looking directly at that wide receiver position again. And I'm hoping this game we maybe see something out of those guys like Travis Fulgham, Jay Jaw, guys we haven't seen much, haven't heard much out of camp just yet. So I'm hoping to see something from those two, one of them, if not both, just to show that they're alive. But obviously the eyes will go to Jalen Hurts. You hope that he gets a little bit more time in this game than the last one, which I assume he will. And then the other thing that I'm watching is just the run game in general. I want to see if we can get that going a little bit. The last, against Pittsburgh, it wasn't really that effective. And I'm just interested to see if they can get that run game going downhill. Will Miles Sanders see the field at all? That'll be interesting.
Now we're talking, JD.
Yeah, see, JD's on the Eagles wagon, man. He's got me hyped up for the Birds. But just looking at stuff like that on the offense, the run game, obviously wide receiver play, we're going to be glued to that all preseason and training camp, all of that. But then I'm going to the defensive side, and I want to see if there's any, linebacker play. Is Alex Singleton going to stand out again? He was all over the place against Pittsburgh. The other linebacker, Eric Wilson, see if he's going to be making plays. And then down the line, TJ Edwards actually looked pretty good most of the night the other night. And then I'm going even further back into the secondary there. See if the young safeties like Epps, like Kayvon Wallace can go out there and make plays. Kayvon Wallace was talking a lot of shit at the joint practices. So I'm excited to see him go lay some wood. But overall, we're looking at this entire team, man. There's a lot of question marks, but that's kind of where I'll leave mine at.
Can you believe that after all the slander Matt McGinty and myself put on this linebacking group last year, his standout from last week was a linebacker?
Dude, Alex Singleton, like Scotty just alluded to, was all over the place. I really like to see it. But the biggest thing, and Scotty kind of also just alluded to it in what he just said, was the wide receivers is what you have to be looking at. Especially with wide receiver 2 and 3, obviously being Jalen Reagor and Quez Watkins. Like, we all saw the Jalen Reagor catch. It was unbelievable. So you hope that you just start to see this stuff in some game action, even if it's a preseason game. You'd still like to see him maybe hit off for a 45-yard bomb or something.
Yeah.
Something we really haven't seen a ton of since he's entered the NFL.
Like that McNabb to T.O. first play of preseason when T.O. signed here.
Yeah, so hopefully you see something like that. We all want to see a little bit more Jalen Hurts. Will we? We don't really know yet. So
that's what I want to throw to you guys. I think so, because there are only 3 preseason games, and you might see a half tomorrow. At least a quarter, I would say, is going to be starters. You could see a whole half, because that third preseason game, how much are they actually going to play? Are they going to play at all?
Yeah.
Everything like that. But I agree with everything you guys said. I think Scotty put it the best in saying we're looking at this whole team because there's so many question marks and so many ifs, not necessarily bad question marks anymore. A couple months ago, when I would use the term question marks, I meant holes. There's so many questions. Who the hell is going to play here? What's going to happen here? Now they're question marks. Okay, who's going to win this battle? What's going to happen here? And from the top to bottom, I guess one guy I'll add in on the defensive side is Zach McPherson, Zach with an E, because we know how, I guess, fragile, how delicate this cornerback room is after Darius Slay and Steven Nelson. We know that injuries do occur, obviously. So can he continue to perform the way people have talked about him and how he's performed in training camp so far, keep having a nose for the ball?
So in the first preseason game, Michael Jacquet can tackle. 3 open field tackles in a row. I was like, what the? They were like, yeah, Nick Sirianni breeds tacklers. I was like, all right, calm down.
No, but Jacquet, he could be, a viable option, in like a 4th or 5th cornerback spot. So it is nice to see him out there making a few plays. I guess what I would ask you guys, I know Gint pointed to it too, with Alex Singleton. Is he the real deal? Like, is he our best linebacker? Like, do we just need to accept him as being our best linebacker?
I think overall Eric Wilson's probably our best linebacker. But Alex Singleton, he can't pass protect. He can't play in coverage at all.
Yeah.
So like having that nose for the ball, that is huge. He's going to be a run stopping, linebacker. He's going to have a nose for the ball. He's going to have like double-digit tackle games a couple times this year. He's going to hit hard. He's going to make a couple big plays. I think he had a pick against San Fran last year against Mullins. Yeah. So, but he can't really play in coverage at all. I think overall, Eric Wilson's probably the savviest, the best linebacker, I guess you could call it. But it's going to be an interesting room this year. And like you said, another room to look at, because I was high on TJ Edwards last year.
Yeah.
As their Mike linebacker. And now he's probably pushed down. Davion Taylor was stepping up early in camp before his injury. So in a room where there's probably not a lot of guys that pop off the page, there are a lot of guys, and just one or two at the stick.
Yeah, I see Alex Singleton being a fan favorite. The hair.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, the hair is great.
He just breeds Philadelphia.
For sure. The one other thing, and by the way, shout out to Joe Castro, the Philly, the podcast.
Congratulations.
As our ticket giveaway. My man, where are you flying? I mean, if you don't want to answer, don't answer. I don't know where you're from, but where the hell are you flying in from? He won our raffle, and he's got to fly or drive to Philly from out of state. So that's awesome, and he is a dedicated Eagles fan. But another thing, you guys brought up Jalen Reagor. And Gint, you guys brought up the catch, and he has looked. Me and Gint talked about some of his, or me and Scotty, I believe, on Turf Talk, talked about his routes. It wasn't necessarily no big plays in the Thursday night game, but so as a route runner, he looks like he's progressing. Remember last year with this wide receiving room, it just looked like they were robots. All they knew was how to get from point A to point B. They couldn't run routes. That there was no separation, no technique, no nothing. Now he looks cleaner that way. He's making these crazy plays. So we talk a lot about Ben Simmons up here, right? There's a lot of reporters saying that was an issue for Jalen Reagor. All he needed was confidence, a little bit of confidence. Do you guys think that's something that he lacked, that this team lacked last year? That, why some of these young guys have that swagger this year. They're just confident. They're more confident this year. Because me and Gint talked about it yesterday or on Monday's show. From a young core that we weren't sold on whatsoever, that we kind of found to be a little too cocky for the 4-win team that they were. Some stuff they were putting on social media, like just that cockiness. I didn't love it because they sucked last year. They've won me over already, and we're not even to week 2 of the preseason. So is that a confidence thing from him and then just down? So,
I mean, it's part confidence, and then I think part of it is just having a coach that will get in your ass. Like, I just think Doug Peterson, that whole wide receiver room was
PG
really
show, Scotty.
For years.
PG show.
He lives in Tampa. Damn. Sign up for Tampa. Jeez. Well, welcome back to Philly. We'll be happy to have
for real, bro. I hope you get to see at least the full half of the starters.
Man, always showing support on the show too. I do appreciate that, bro. But as far as Reagor, I think it's starting to make me wonder the way this wide receiver group in general is prospering, because obviously Nick Sirianni was a wide receivers coach, to start his career as a coach. So it's making me wonder if how he just looked at that position as like, we got to get a guy in here that's going to address this for real. And you see it with Nick Sirianni working one-on-one with these young receivers. And at the end of the day, Jalen Reagor is only 22 years old. Like, he's a young guy. He needs to be guided. And I think Nick Sirianni coming in with that one-on-one, you're working with your head coach right now on route running. Like, he gets out there and works with them.
And apparently he's been ripped early in preseason. Like they got on his ass early when
they were chewing him out. So I think all of it is good. And then obvious his confidence is back. He's back on Twitter. Like he's posting stuff on Twitter. He's posting stuff on IG. He's having fun with the fans. And the fans have somewhat bought back into him with this training camp, with this preseason. So he should have a lot of confidence. This whole team should have confidence. You have no expectations. None from the city. It seems like national media is starting to flip their script. But in Philadelphia, there is no expectations for this team, and there's no pressure. And I think they should all have a ton of confidence.
Another thing with Jalen Reagor, the situation he came into was so pressure heavy. You go from the Sixers obviously taking J. Jaw over DK Metcalf, which was a travesty. The Eagles I said the Sixers. The Eagles take J. Jaw, and then you come to a situation where they take Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson, and Justin Jefferson turns into this Pro Bowler. So maybe they need to just take a step back. Like, yo, kid, calm down. You're 22. There's hope here. Let's figure this out.
They also just didn't use anybody correctly last year. Like, the last year was such a, I want to call it an anomaly, because before last year, this regime had great success. Obviously, the most success that this organization has ever seen, winning its first Super Bowl. But last year was a disaster from top to bottom, from management to the coaching staff to the trainers to the players to everything. This year, you're just seeing, like, early on at least, obviously we haven't seen anything in game time yet or whatever, but that, I don't know, I don't want to be corny because I hated the whole spiel, but that attack mentality, Scotty and Gint, that competition that he drives, it really seems like the message is getting across to everyone.
Sounds like a high school football saying.
Yeah, well, no, I said this because, Gint, you were with me when I ripped the whole thing. Or I forget who it was, but I don't mind the phrase attack every day or attack everything. That's pretty cool. The way he kept going at it, they're attacking the rest. We're attacking the film room. All right, come on, bro. Like, relax. But regardless, he's won me over slowly. Jalen Hurts is starting to win me over. Quez Watkins is starting to win me over. So that's where I want to keep this conversation before we move on here. That wide receiver room, I think that was the first thing you pointed at, Scotty, about what you're looking for tomorrow night. I think we have a good idea of who 1 through 3 is. Obviously, Devontae Smith, who has not, played in a preseason game yet, is wide receiver number 1. Hopefully he's returning soon. He did some team drills and individual drills yesterday. He's making his way back. He's wide receiver 1. 2 and 3, wherever, slot, outside, whatever way it's going to work out. If Quez Watkins continues to play like this over the next week or two, it's going to be Quez Watkins and Jalen Reagor. I'm looking for who fills in after that. Who not just plays okay, who steps up and shows out tomorrow. I don't care if it's against the second team or the backups. Is it J. Jaw? Is it Greg Ward? Does Travis Fulgham come alive? Who does it? Because obviously the Eagles are going to have and need more than 3 wide receivers to contribute on this team. Who the hell's it going to be? I'm going to tell you, I'm not confident in any of them. I think Greg Ward's probably the most reliable. He's the veteran. Travis Fulgham, to me, is probably the most well put together. I don't know. And then J. Jaw's the one with the high draft pick, was supposed to be high upside, red zone guy. Who steps up? Because all I keep hearing over the last 2 days is J. Jaw burnt this guy. J. Jaw scored in the red zone. He's looked great. Well, last week he had as many tackles as he did targets. 1 and 1 last week. 0 catches in an actual game against backups. So someone has to separate themselves from the pack. Who do you guys think it's going to be out of those 3? I think John Hightower, with that injury, even though he's back now, I think he lost some steam now. Out of J. Jaw, Fulgham, and Greg Ward, who do you think separates themselves tomorrow night?
You want me to go first? You want to go first?
Gint's thinking.
All right, I got you. So for me, okay, so I got a 2-sided answer. So I think the person that needs to do the most is J. Jaw in my eyes, because I'm not going off training camp with J. Jaw anymore. Period. Until I see him do this in even the preseason. Honestly, we shouldn't. We saw him cook in his rookie season in the preseason. But as far as tomorrow's game and the third preseason game, he has to prove something on the field, because in my eyes, we watched Travis Fulgham. I know everybody, George and Phil, they think that J. Jaw is this like sleeper to make the team. He's like deserving as the 3rd round. I'm not on all of that. I've not seen anything that makes me think, 1, that he's, worth a 3rd round pick even, and then 2, that he's better than Travis Fulgham. I've seen Travis Fulgham against 2 of the best defenses in the NFL last year.
I said it to Phil before. Small sample size. Travis Fulgham was good for, he was good for 4 games. But guess what? That's 4 more games than J. Jaw's been good in.
In less time than we've given, Travis Fulgham. So I think, okay, so here's the other answer to your question. I think Travis Fulgham is the guy that we do see do the most in order to separate himself from guys like J. Jaw, because the fact that he's even getting grouped in with J-Jaw, I just don't even like it. I honestly don't. So yeah, I think Travis Fulgham is the guy that will separate himself. I think J-Jaw is the guy that needs to.
No G Ward love. Ginn, how about you?
I'm taking Travis Fulgham as well. Travis Fulgham was really good last year until the ghost of Alshon Jeffrey came back, and he all of a sudden they just didn't play anymore. So I'm going to say Fulgham could be the one to probably set himself apart. But like I feel like Greg Ward's like that back pocket option. Like he's there. He's not going to be anything spectacular. He's not going to change. So I'd probably say that. I like Scotty said, what has J-Jaw shown to even earn anything in this city? He looks like he should be selling T-shirts outside.
The only way he makes the team is because of
what he can tackle.
What was my?
That's what I'm saying, man.
Because of what my theory was with the Andre Dillard and Howie Roseman issue before Dillard got hurt and absolutely got torched in camp early on, was the fact that Howie spent that high draft pick on him, that second round draft pick. Everyone knows who he selected J-Jaw over. Howie knows that as well. He's got to try to make this work for as long as he can until it literally is impossible. That's why I think he makes the team. I just thought it was like fun. I just think it's funny, like when George and Phil mess around with me on Twitter, because like they were like a reporter put out that he broke someone's ankles, got open for a touchdown in the joint practice, and it was like a second or third string corner for the Patriots. And they're like, see, and then George keeps saying he's going to be very hard to handle this year if J-Jaw makes the team and does good. And I'm not even slightly worried about him doing good. Like at all. Like, dude, I get it's a preseason game. He had 1 target for 0 catches in an entire preseason game. Missed me with the broken ankle practice route.
J-Jaw's not even likable.
Not at all. Remember when he had his mom holding the umbrella over his head in the sun his rookie year?
And the other thing that was very telling to me as well in that first preseason game is how early Travis Fulgham took his shoulder pads off. He was over there with the starters with his shoulders pads off. Is early in that game, honestly. But with J-Jaw, I look at George and Phil, and I'm like, what could they possibly be picking him to like make the team based off of?
Well, here's what I'll say. I'll defend Phil. I'll defend our guy Phil.
Right? Like I don't know.
I'll defend our guy Phil a little bit here because I think Phil's route is messing around, but he thinks that J-Jaw will make the team, not that he thinks he should. George is the one that keeps hashtagging "Don't sleep on J-Jaw." Don't sleep on J-Jaw. J-Jaw's been asleep for the last 3 years. I'm wide awake. He's sleeping. But, man. And I guess the last thing I'm looking for tomorrow night is the clear and obvious one. Our guy that we're looking to be the franchise quarterback, the guy who's slowly winning me over as time goes on, Jalen Hurts. I believe he was 16 for 17 against the Patriots in 11-on-11s yesterday or Monday. Sounds awesome. Can he continue to build off of week 1 from the preseason? I know he only had 2 drives. Only threw 7 passes. Can he just continue his development as a passer? I know the athleticism. I know the dual threat. I know the leadership. I know everything like that. As a passer, not bailing out of the pocket too early, letting plays develop, and arm accuracy and arm strength in those. Not even so much the deep routes, because we saw, he missed Quez Watkins, but he overthrew him by half a step. He overthrew a fast as hell Quez Watkins. I'm not mad at that. It's the intermediate kind of routes, the sideline, the 10-yard outs towards the sideline. Can he continue to be accurate with those? And those are just little things I'm looking forward to seeing. And that I said it to Gint yesterday. I said to you, Scotty, this offense has the potential to be a ton of freaking fun.
Yeah.
One more thing I wanted to bring up, you might laugh at me here, but Jake Elliott, man, and I know me and Dylan gave him a hard time, especially for what he gets paid.
We gave everyone a hard time last year. They were a disaster. That's why everyone's like, well, everyone's on Twitter saying like, I got receipts. Who said anything positive last year? Why would I say anything positive?
11-1 team. Like, what the fuck?
Like, no offense. I get people that call Jalen Reagor a bust. I get coming at them. I never call Jalen Reagor a bust after that awful year. But to like just try to tell me I knew. How the hell did you know? Did you watch last year? But go ahead.
I just wanted to mention, like, dude, Jake Elliott was a wreck last year. So to come out, I think he went 3 for 3, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
All 45 plus.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure one was 50 yards. So
Yeah.
My issue though, isn't that normally where Jake's
He's a
pretty
long
good?
shot.
Jake from like 38 in is the Jake you got to worry about.
Yeah. So, but I mean, when they're there, points got to get put on the board. So hopefully Jake Elliott isn't a travesty this year.
We have named everything to look at. Another just something I heard from camp is the fact that Scotty, you mentioned looking at the running game. I don't think you're going to see much of it in the preseason.
That's fair.
Excuse me. But the rumor is with this offensive line being healthy, with having Brandon Brooks and Lane Johnson on the right side, they're creating massive holes in practice for Miles Sanders and those running backs. And again, that can only help Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
If this offensive line stays healthy, and not only can they pass protect for Jalen Hurts and keep him clean, but they can open up the running game big time like they used to, that's going to open up so much for the passing attack and this young quarterback. So that's what another thing that I'm looking forward to. Defensive line depth. Like, dude, I said this a bunch of times. I can't get over it. Milton Williams is a massive human being. Dude, they drafted him. When they drafted him, I didn't love the pick. I didn't know much about him. Was JOK still there when they took? I forget. He might have been gone in the second round, but there were a couple guys I liked in the third round when they selected Milton Williams. I didn't know much about him. Louisiana Tech, but from what I saw, I thought he was kind of like a shorter, like chunkier, heavy set defensive tackle. He's ginormous, bro. If I saw him again, remember when you talked about the Jalen Mills pushing Mailata in the back and you were like, yeah, I probably want to go after Jordan Mailata. If Milton Williams wanted to fight me, I would be in Tampa right now with Joe Castro. I'd be so far out. That man is gigantic. But bodes well for the defensive line because when Fletch ain't in the game and Javon Hargrave ain't in the game, Milton Williams gets to beat your ass for a little bit while they take a breather. Javon Hargrave did twist an ankle or whatever injury, an ankle injury he's got going on. I think he's day-to-day, I think. I hope it's not week-to-week. I think it's day-to-day. But hopefully, apparently he's been having a hell of a training camp. So you only hope that he stays healthy for this defensive line depth. But guys, talking about this offensive talent, talking about these wide receivers, talking about success, everything like that. Final segment of today. We'll have a little fun with it. Planned it a little bit last minute, so let's see if it runs smoothly. Buy or sell for Eagles team/player props. So I'll mediate. Scotty versus Gint. They're going to build a 3-prop team. We're going to put it out on Twitter, and it's more realistic. The more realistic team, not what sounds better. What's more realistic? I'm going to give him 2 options. Gint's going to pick. That's his first prop. Then Scotty, so on and so forth, till they get 3 each. And then whoever has the 2 of the 3 more realistic, 3 of the 3 more realistic, whatever, you guys can vote on Twitter. Get involved with it. Have some fun, etc. So, Scotty, I'll start with you first. What do I want to give you for Eagles player props?
I got J-Jaw with under 3 this season.
No.
Under 3.
No getting the pick over here. No getting to create your own.
I know. I'm messing with you.
Okay, let's go here. Receiving yards for Jalen Reagor over 650.5. So Jalen Reagor getting 651 or more receiving yards, or Jalen Hurts over 7.5 rushing touchdowns.
I'm going to go Jalen Hurts, bro. I think he's going to be a killer in the red zone on that option.
Wow. So 8 rushing touchdowns or more for Jalen Hurts is Scotty's number 1. Again, I'm going to ask you a different one, but would you agree there or would you disagree?
Yeah, I would have took Jalen Hurts as well.
Wow. Okay.
Nice.
All that hype over Jalen Reagor.
Confidence. Thank you, gang.
All that Jalen Reagor hype, and you guys just jump ship that early. My man can't even get 651 receiving yards. All right, Gint.
Ball's going to be going around a lot, man.
All right, Gint, let's go here. Receiving yards as well, but for a different player. Devontae Smith, over 800.5 receiving yards, or Dallas Goedert over 5 tutties.
Dallas Goedert over 5 touchdowns, especially if Zach Ertz isn't on the roster eventually.
Goddard 5 TD. Okay. Round number 2. Scotty. Dallas Goedert over 60.5 receiving yards, or And I'll give you the one.
You
Gint
said
just had.
60 and a half.
Receptions?
Oh, I'm sorry. Receptions.
Well, yeah.
Receptions.
Just looking for 5 touchdowns. I sure hope so.
I got you. So 61 receptions.
Yes. And then I'll throw the one Gint just had an opportunity at. Devontae Smith over 8.5 receiving yards.
I'm gonna go with Devontae Smith there, man. I think Goddard's gonna be more of like big chunks, touchdowns, rather than a lot of receptions.
All right. Okay. Gint, we're going to give you Miles Sanders over 7 rushing touchdowns or Jalen Hurts over 20.5 passing touchdowns.
Miles Sanders over 7 rushing touchdowns.
All right. Scotty, Jalen Reagor over 4 receiving touchdowns or Jalen Hurts. I'll give you the passing touchdowns as well. Over 20.5 passing touchdowns.
Okay, so Jalen Reagor over 4.
4 touchdowns, yeah. Or Jalen Hurts over 20.5 passing touchdowns.
Oh, man. It's
You
tough.
guys don't think Hurts is getting 21 passing tutties?
I do think both are honestly going to happen. I'm
Well,
just
what's
going to go with
more
Reagor
likely?
because it's lower. I'm going to go with Reagor. It's a lower totem pole.
All right. Again, last one here to fill out your roster. So Scotty's got Jalen Hurts over 7.5 rushing touchdowns, Jalen Reagor over 4 receiving touchdowns or just touchdowns in general, and Devontae Smith over 800.5 receiving yards. Gint, Goddard over 5 touchdowns, Sanders over 7 touchdowns. Gint, your final one, Jalen Hurts over 3,650.5 passing yards, or make this fun, the Eagles to win the division at plus 550 odds.
That one's tough.
Whatever the passing yards was for Jalen Hurts.
That one's tough, man.
I have zero faith in this team winning the division. I shouldn't say zero faith. Say a little bit of faith, dude. If you would have took that Jalen Hurts, the second Jalen Hurts one, you would have been at like a guaranteed 30 touchdowns for Jalen Hurts combined.
No, that could not take it.
Touchdowns, 20 thrown. I was like, dude, this dude might win MVP.
Really
Well,
MVP caliber.
Well, I didn't think about it that way, but I still figure he's getting over 21 passing touchdowns.
We gotta hope so, correct?
We gotta hope what?
It'll be interesting
gotta hope
to see
so.
how it plays out, man. If they let him loose with his legs, I could see a lot of him, scrambling into the end zone, options into the end zone. But I don't know, man. It's tricky because even I was hoping you gave me the Miles Sanders over on the touchdowns.
I was thinking about for the last ones on each team. We can go back if you guys want to. I was going to let you guys pick from any of the remaining.
Yeah,
Well-
if you still got him there.
All right, we'll do 4. We'll do 4 for each then.
All right, cool.
All right. So I'll let Gint go first because I kind of just effed him over with the division. Gint, do you want Jalen Reagor over 650.5 receiving yards, Dallas Goedert over 60.5 receptions, or Jalen Hurts over 20.5 passing touchdowns?
I'll take Goddard receptions. That was over 60 and a half.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so 61.
61.
Yeah, I'll take that.
No one biting, man. All right, Scotty, do you want Jalen Reagor over 650.5 receiving yards, or last one I believe is Jalen Hurts over 20.5 passing touchdowns?
Or the Eagles to win the division if you want that one.
Oh, yeah. Or if you want the Eagles at plus 550 to win the division, which are the worst odds in the NFC East, by the way, which is bullshit. Yeah, the Giants aren't better than the Eagles.
I really do want to pick the Jalen Hurts one. I'm thinking about like 30 touchdowns. Like Ken said, it sounds ridiculous.
There is an extra game.
There is an extra game as well. So what? 2 passing touchdowns a game. There's 17 games.
That's 34, bro.
Yeah, I'm going with the over, man. I'm going with the over. He's going to get over 20 touchdowns passing. He's got to.
I knew
If
I was
he's
getting
not,
the bite on it before we wrapped up.
He won't be starting for us next year. So,
oh man. Before we wrap up here, guys, I will be putting out a tweet with each of Gint and Scotty's teams. Vote, comment, whatever you guys want to do. Share it out. Which guy put together a more realistic player prop or team prop expectation list for the Eagles this season? Shout out to Joe Castro at Philly TP. Check out his podcast on Twitter. His ad is at Philly TP. Had Derek Gunn on his show today. Great interview there. So shouting him out. Enjoy the game, Joe. And guys, final thing. Last episode of the Phaithful Phanatics before the open tailgate this Sunday, August 22nd, Eagles second open practice at 7 p.m. We will be there live in the parking lot. We don't know which one yet. We'll put out those details when we get down there. Don't know how crowded an open practice is going to be in the parking lots. Well, we're setting up free beer from Kenwood Brewing, free pizza from our guy Phil's Pizza Shop. Devontae Smith jersey giveaway. We're raffling off a Devontae Smith jersey. Again, we're hoping for black. Most likely going to be a green large Devontae Smith jersey. And just come hang out with us. We're doing a live show starting at 4:30. We'll get interviewed, come on the show, and just hang out and have a good time. What's up?
I think we should put a poll up today of what size we should grab.
Not a bad idea.
I think you'd rather a jersey be bigger than smaller.
Probably.
Yeah, that is true.
What do you guys think? Comment real quick. Large or extra large?
But, I mean, we could just put a tweet out with a poll and figure it out, and whatever gets the most votes. Obviously, don't even put small or medium in the vote.
Yeah.
But,
That's a good idea.
Yeah. We're no smaller mediums over here.
Nah, not at all.
When one of us rigged this raffle. But yeah, guys, anything else, just come hang out with us. Free beer, free pizza. By the way, I did miss one little part of that. You got to subscribe and follow us on Twitter and or YouTube. But guys, one click, one button, free beer, free food, join the show, and just shoot the shit with us and talk about the Eagles. It's going to be a good time. We're going to have Adam says extra large. He might not be wrong. So we'll have to figure that out by tomorrow. But yeah, it's going to be a great time. Gint, Scotty, any last words here?
Thanks for watching. We'll see you Thursday, tomorrow. Phaithful Phanatics podcast.
Didn't we just say no show tomorrow?
Oh, wait. Sorry. Jalen Hurts, 30 touchdowns this year. Scotty's got to win an MVP.
Oh, MVP. Where's the MVP over under, baby?
So for myself, guys, at DylanJD98, Gint at Matt_McGinty, Scotty at Scotty Drown, and of course, we're all part of Team DSM at DSM_media. Check us out on every social media platform and go Birds. See you guys Sunday.
Go Birds. See you Sunday.